Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
A guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin still lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
And welcome to PSGL F2. We are back for the fabulous F2 Championship. Here it should be a fantastic race this evening. Don't worry, you're not going to be looking at the calendar graphic. Just a bit of a camera issue, as per usual. Don't buy your web cameras off Amazon if you're looking to get one. But we have a great race coming up for you here this evening, folks, live from the Red Bull Ring. It's the usual suspects back here on the F2 broadcast. It is myself, joined by Byron. Byron, how are you keeping? And are you looking forward to Austria here this evening?
I mean, it's difficult not to look forward to Austria. It's one of those circuits. It's well, if you want overtakes, you go to Austria. My favourite calendar on the track as well. So, maybe a bit of bias there in terms of I love it, but nonetheless, I am keeping well, and I'm certainly sure this track is going to spring up a lot of surprises, a lot of action, and a lot of things that we all want from PSGL, and a great way to continue our season as round 4.
Yes, before we get into round 4, of course, let's cast our eyes back to round number 3. That's the wrong graphic. It's decided that it doesn't want to work for this evening. That's the right graphic. These are the race results from the Monaco Grand Prix. Give Byron some credit for his beautiful designs in the stream chat, by the way. But round number 3, Monaco, that result looks slightly different than what you saw on our Monaco broadcast. Both Dirk and Fede, the Aston Martin and the Ferrari driver respectively, were given 3 and 6 second time penalties respectively for incidents throughout the race. That nominated Shazou Fusilo to the top. He takes the race win for the Monaco Grand Prix. Of course, was one of a couple of drivers to stand back in the points from a Monaco Grand Prix before. He managed to take the maximum and bettered his results from last season in the F3 Championship. It was Dara then in second, then Dirk did go to third, then it was Hazara, Phil, Fede, Danielle, Francesco, Diogo Silva and Yakita were your top 10. If you're wondering what happened to the incident with Dirk, that rather peculiar qualifying incident, I think it's safe to say he was given 3 licence points and a qualifying suspension ahead of this evening's race. So that will put Dirk at the back here in Austria. Wow, we are really having a horrid time with graphics here this evening. Let's fix the championship standings for you this evening. This is called OBS, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the streaming software. Here are your championship standings. For ahead of this evening, though, it is TRT Fede, who's on the top 31 points ahead of Dirk. Then it is Fasilo, Phil, Darren, Danielle, Jamie, Hazara, Francesco, and Tales. Still very close all around, it seems, Byron.
Yeah, absolutely. Not too bad. Looking very close from the top to the bottom. But, well, we're only 3 rounds in. That's kind of what you expect. But obviously, look at the amount of drivers in the 20s. You got 3 drivers tied on 20 points. Then you got Fusilo on 22. And then Dirk on 25. And then Fede's only a further 6 up. So could be a lot of moving in this championship. Especially, you think, just one good race from any one of those drivers. And that could either cement a championship challenge, or it could see them definitely get a lot closer to the top.
Well, it's a good thing that we have a fantastic race ahead of us to make this championship a lot more interesting. Let's cut to the action here from the Red Bull Ring. Qualifying just underway. We have a couple of drivers on outlaps here this evening. Let us know your predictions, of course, for the qualifying session in the stream chat below. It's not often with 16 minutes to go in a qualifying session you see two drivers DNF'd, but I believe both the TF10 guys do have qualifying suspensions. I know Dirk is almost certain. I shall double check to see if Max van der Geest has also joined the qualifying suspension list, because unfortunately I didn't check his. I did check Dirk's. It might be a license point issue maybe for Max van der Geest, and yeah, it's disappointing if you do pick up a qualifying suspension, because you give yourself a lot of work to do in the long run.
Absolutely, and unfortunately that's a lot of work they're not going to want to have, but unfortunately you deal with the blows and the punches that you get, and well, if you can't keep it clean, you're going to face those all-important consequences, and unfortunately for them, that is exactly what has happened. It has unfortunately meant they're down that order. You know, they're not going to be able to get maybe quite as good of a race, but Austria, it's one of those tracks you know you can overtake, so they've got a chance irrespective of that. I can't wait to see what those ones are able to do, even if they are on the back burner as things stand.
Max van der Geest is even more on the back burner. He's a 5-second penalty to serve after this race as well, so that'll be added to his race time here in the Red Bull Ring. That's a horrid start to your week. We race on Mondays. He won't, or he will be blaring the Boomtown Rats. Tell me why I don't like Mondays. It's because Krypton gives him 5-second time penalties. Yep, he will have a bit of a tricky evening here this evening ahead of him, but Max van der Geest is usually quick around the Red Bull Ring, and we'll see what he can do. Finished 5th here last season, and of course did Max van der Geest, as 5 seems to be a bit of a trend number for him. Dara crosses the start-finish line to complete his first lap in qualifying. It's a 1:03.2. Is the banker time for these guys to set? Marcus Costa then goes to second position as well, as a handful of Red Bulls entering in towards the final couple of corners. Red Bull, of course, proud owners of the former A1 ring, now the Red Bull ring, and as Phil heads into the Red Bull mobile curve, he's looking to topple that time at the top. Unfortunately, Will not goes about 5/10 slower than it. Will Murdoch goes 5th. Fede then goes to second position, the championship leader, with a good first lap.
Yeah, these first laps not looking too bad as things stand. Fede definitely up there towards the top. That's exactly what they're going to want. Obviously, currently leading the championship. We're going to want a good qualifying here, build the momentum that they've already had. Disappointing last time out to obviously have got that penalty, but ultimately, you know, as I was saying earlier, you kind of just deal with what you get. You know, it's not always going to go your way, unfortunately, and well, you know, it's just about bouncing back from those unfortunate circumstances. But, you know, Fede, he's leading the championship. That penalty, it means very little in the grand scheme of things, at least to them. But other drivers around, they're going to be looking to try and capitalise, knowing, you know, those penalties, those little mistakes, it provides an opportunity for them.
This is, of course, Jesus Facilio you're looking at now, a now PSGL Monaco Grand Prix winner, of course, for Williams Racing. Last season was quite consistent, had 5 points finishes in 8 races in the F3 Championship. If he could continue that consistency here this evening, he might have a good championship season. I believe that is Rayan off in the background in the Haas. That's a spin for the final corner for him. Disappointing. Francesco Lago is on his outlap, not quite going triple speed, as everyone seems to be saying in relation to him. That is, of course, a Cars 2 joke. If you don't get it, go watch the movie. If you haven't watched that movie already, why are you watching a league racing stream? You're clearly uncultured. But he's the only man not to start a timed run yet. Rayan has invalidated his lap, of course, with that spin for the final corner. It is a trundle back to the pit lane with his tail between his legs. But the other 16 drivers have got a time on the board. Thomas Covers, not a representative one, but he has got a lap nonetheless. Thomas said on X earlier, or Twitter, I still call it both, he's not feeling too motivated for this race, but he's going to take it how it comes. Thomas, of course, lost to the Austrian Grand Prix last season to Diogo Silva on the last lap. So I suppose that is one way to demotivate yourself.
But at the end of the day, these drivers, they're here to compete and they're trying to mount a championship challenge. You know, you can't let that sort of, you know, I lost out last time, so it's going to go terribly this time. You can't let that mentality win, because that's when it's going to really impact your performance. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's about just getting on with, you know, this race at hand. You know, no matter what your past experience is here, you know, these guys, they want to deliver, and I cannot wait to see, you know, even those who maybe aren't as excited, see what they can do because I've got a strong feeling about this one. It is going to be an absolute barnstormer. There is no way you can have an uninteresting race at Austria.
Yeah, Thomas Covers, of course, last season did not quite take a race win. It escaped him on many occasions. He took second in Hungary and in Austria, both European tracks. The AlphaTauri team, as a team, took one win. That was in the season opener in the hands of Ian Van Noonen. And honestly, one win was quite disappointing for them last season, because they had a good couple of drivers. The second driver was in and out a little bit for the team, but Ian was very solid and was quite unlucky not to take more than one win. So they would love to shut up their supposed senior team and take a win on Red Bull's home circuit. But a lot of work to do there. Here comes Francesco Lago, goes to third for that senior team and slots it in behind the Sauber Esports car and the Ferrari, and is only about a tenth of a second off pole. I also saw someone say that a 2.9 could be possible here this evening. We do have cooler track temperatures though, so I'm not sure if that will play too much of a part in deciding that quick lap, but we ride on board with the current pole sitter now here, Shizou Dara. He's going to pick a bit of a slipstream off his fellow Ferrari powered car.
Yeah, not looking too bad actually. And in terms of the track conditions, the air temperature is 20 degrees and the track temperature is 29. So actually, this might be nearing that sort of peak condition where you're just about able to get enough grip. Although the clouds are definitely making it a little maybe colder, it's still very nice, very warm, and well, you're going to get a lot of grip out of this track regardless, but not looking too bad. A lot of drivers getting up towards the top, improving here. Marcus Costa being one of them, who's just got up to 4th place there in his McLaren. Disappointing start to their season, McLaren. A long way to go, though. We're only 4 rounds in, but, as a collective team, they've not been great. But Hazara, who's in 8th, is having a great lap here as things stand, because he's gone purple in the middle sector. He's had a great first sector. This could be a good lap from Hazara up to the top of the timesheet. I'm glad I spotted that one, because a 103.232, it's ahead of Dara, it's ahead of Fede. What a lap time there from last season's F3 driver, taking that step up and delivering a good lap time in qualifying.
Yeah, Zara was unhappy he didn't actually get promoted to the top tier, PSGL F1, which of course you can tune in from 8 PM with James Head and Jessica Ball. Well, that's the usual lineup. I presume there's no changes for this evening, so that's one way to go and show that you maybe deserve the top spot. But qualifying's one thing, the race is the other. Thomas Covers knows that well. He's just gone to 3rd. Facilo for the final corner now for the Williams Racing Machine. Monster middle sector. He puts it up into 6th. That's well within contention for pole position. Maybe Will Murdoch still on a lap as well. Here comes RT Phil heading for the final corner. Found about a 10th and a half in that middle sector. Can he find more in the final sector? He can actually, and improves by 2/10 up to 11th position. An improvement like a small campsite. 2/10 for IRT Phil. Sorry, you have wanted to make that joke all season. Devon heads in towards turn number 3 now. Of course, the CPI team have surprised us maybe a little bit this season. Jamie, of course, taking the round 2 win in Spa-Francorchamps. Not here this evening. He is, of course, a reserve representee. But this grid is mighty close. The top 14 are separated by less than 4/10 of a second.
You won't find oh god, that was good words there. You won't find finer margins anywhere else. I may have just been eating some hot cross bun, and that is completely threw me off guard.
More than allowed.
Hence the word soup. So
that's one thing you don't know, folks. You never know when your commentators are eating while commentating. There's something you didn't know. Here comes Devon.
I've revealed it.
Well, you have now, yeah, so we cannot get away with that for the rest of the season. Devon goes to 7th position, and he was instantly beaten by TRT Danielle. Look how close the two Ferraris are. Mr. Oliver Behrman probably wished they were that close at the previous F1 weekend, but TRT Fede and TRT Danielle are a force to be reckoned with in this championship, and their close proximity to each other's pace is one thing to note. Their pure pace is another thing, I suppose. 4th and 5th for the Ferraris time being. Ferrari as a team usually run quite well around here at the Red Bull Ring. Oh, there's the restart confirmed. Francesco Lago, 5th-place grid penalty for a collision with Tales, the Brazilian, and the Italian getting wrapped up in a bit of an incident there. So we will have a restart after this session. Diogo Silva trundles into pit lane. We look at the pit lane, actually. Big talking point, this Austrian pit lane, as Whoa! Where has that come from? Rayan, 103.1. That's a way to stop the talk about pit lanes. Rayan goes quickest out of nowhere.
Yeah, what a lap time there from Rayan. A mighty last sector as well, actually. About 1/10 quicker than Hazara, who's in second in that final sector. So a mighty final sector there from Rayan to take it to the top of the timesheet. But still a lot of drivers here heading out for another lap here. Hazara, obviously, and Dara there heading out for yet another lap. Fuselo also there down in 10th place. A few movers, but not too much movement. But that is definitely quite a big shock. But there again, wasn't it a shock just a couple of minutes ago when Hazara went to the top? You cannot count anyone out at a track like Austria, because all it takes is one lap and it changes absolutely everything. Because this track, you know, if you get the track when it's at its best, you're just gonna take it so far. And that is exactly what Rayan's done. Got the really good track conditions and, well, top of the times.
Yep, incredible lap from Rayan. What I was going to say about the pit lanes is it's usually a big talking point in Austria, those white lines. You got to stick within them and stick to the inside line. So if you do see anyone cross the white lines, yeah, stay... Oh, hold on a second. That's Francesco Lago with a massive spin out of the Niki Lauda curve of turn number 1. He's called it well, but he did almost hit the Mercedes that was coming out of the pit lane. That's Gili Johan is coming out of the pit lane, and that would have been a horror incident. Francesco, of course, made contact with Dirk last week in qualifying in Monte Carlo. That ended his final run. That's given Dirk a qualifying ban for today. Does not want the trend of hitting people in qualifying to continue. Here comes Dara Smith running for the final corner. I think he's just invalidated his next lap there. He absolutely has. That's disappointing for Dara. Invalidated and got a this and next lap. So this lap will not count. Hazara is on a push lap and is improving by literally 1,000 quick enough to take pole position. Needs a good final sector here though. The Red Bull Ring, of course, does promote 4 qualifying runs if you have the soft tyres for it. If you want to sacrifice the soft tyres for it, I should say. For the final corner comes the Norwegian. Can he topple that 103.1 and get into the 103.1s himself? He can. 103.1, 120. We're getting closer to that 103 flat. I would love to get into the 102s, but I think that's a bit optimistic.
Well, funny you mentioned the 103 flat. Annoyingly, Draga there in third. He actually got a 103.98. He didn't invalidate at the final corner. He invalidated earlier on in the lap, but then got this and next lap invalidation out the final corner anyway, so that ended that chance. But yeah, his last lap was a 103.98, so he actually would be top of the timesheet if he got that lap under green flag, under non-invalidated conditions. But unfortunately for him, it wasn't to be, and he doesn't get that lap time on the board. But he would be P1 as things stand. So a strong showing from him, and definitely showing the pace is there, because that Alfa Romeo would have been top had he have got that lap time valid.
As we see Johan entering into the pit lane, thought he might have been completing a lap. Will Murdoch is one of few on a push lap right now. We need to keep an eye on Thomas Covers as well. He's heading in towards the final couple of corners. This is a track that really suits him. Covers likes this circuit, likes circuits like these, the quick ones with a lot of laps. He jumps up to second position, becomes the third man into the 103 once, and he manages to split Hazara and Rayan at the top of the order. Fede has backed out of his next lap. He will take a trip back to the pit lane. A very short pit lane here at the Red Bull Ring. It's about a 16.1 second pit loss. That's about your margin. Now, I will just give you a bit of a disclaimer. That's Formula 1 times, so it differs a little bit for league racing. We'll talk about race strategy more at the break. Certainly an interesting one. If you're wondering, well, when you're going to take a break, we will have a restart. Of course, after qualifying to get rid of those 5-place grid penalties. So plenty of time to top up on your popcorn, to top up on your snacks and drinks and get ready for what's going to be a classic Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah, you can never count the Austrian Grand Prix as one that's going to be, well, uninteresting. It's one of those circuits that just allows so much overtaking, so much drama. We've seen so many crashes over the years. I've seen quite a fair few when I actually managed to do my first casting of the F1 Esports drivers too, and that was quite something as they dueled it out down through turn 4 and into turn 5. But we still got these guys to focus on, and we're getting those final laps underway. In fact, Luke's on a fairly good lap now. He's actually up by a 10th and a half. He's going through into turn 9 and turn 10. These corners very difficult. Got to be very precise. Down to about 160 miles an hour there, and then into the final corner, about 120, 130 through there, just about. But Luke up to the line, improving by a tenth and a half, up to 8th. A good lap time there from Luke to get him up a fair few places here. The entire field separated by just under 0.8 of a second, and that's Will Murdoch. He hasn't been setting the best of pace, but then if you don't include Will Murdoch, 0.5 the gap between the entire field, 1st to 17th.
Clutch play from the ghosting system as Yakina spun through the Nicky Lauda curve, and a car just drove straight through him, but thankfully the ghosting system did play clutch. 1:12 to go, and Mithwi in the stream chat asking, Max QB or crashed? It's a confusing one because I read through the stewards. He didn't get a qualifying ban last week, but he also didn't go out on track. So I really don't know. It could be a qualifying ban, or it could be press the wrong button or something. That has happened before in PSGL F2, funnily enough. But we're on to the final laps of this qualifying session. We've got some monster times yet to come. This man is a name on everyone's lips after an impressive podium last time out in Monte Carlo. It is Shazoo Dara. He's heading up through turn number 2 and in towards turn number 3. That is, of course, the Remus, and is improving on his time. Needs a lot more than that, though, if he wants to take pole position. Good traction out of Remus as he heads down towards the Schlossgold, infamously James Head's favourite corner name on a Formula 1 calendar. There's a bit of PSGL trivia for you. Through turn number 4, it is a decent run there for Dara Smith, though. He's got 2 left-handers to come up here. This is the Worth curve, and then into that is Rauk, and then in towards the Worth curve. Always improving. This could be very close come the start-finish line. That's Facilio, who has gone to 5th place, I believe. Oh no, sorry, not Facilio. Danielle has gone to 2nd position. Great lap by here. Here comes Dara Smith through the final corners. This has got to be really close for the Sauber. Is it pole position around the Red Bull Ring? It is pole position around the Red Bull Ring, but will it be snatched back off him? Because Rayan has just taken it. Oh, look at that. Can you get closer? 0.002. It's a fingernail separates the top 2. Facilio's down on his time. Has Hazara had the monster final sector he was looking for across the start-finish line? No, he's down on his time. What can the championship leader do? Maybe Fede still with a lap to finish.
Yeah, Fede not looking too bad here. He's not far off the pace in the first sector, but quite a bit down in the second sector. So unfortunately, it might not be a good lap here for Fede. He's 2 tenths down in that second sector versus Hazara, who had the fastest middle sector as things stand. But round the final bend, Fede comes up to the line now. Is it going to be an improvement? Not quite for Fede. Stays in 10th, so a disappointing time for there. Will Murdoch got up to 16th there, right at the death of the session, I believe. Tales and Phil not on a representative lap time, and Danielle isn't improving. So that is qualifying. It's Rayan on pole position out of nowhere. It seems like the drivers you least expected it have been right at the top. What has happened here? Where are our usual suspects? Because they were, interestingly, more off the pace than we expect.
Yeah, it is the former PSF 4-man who takes pole position for the Austrian Grand Prix. He started his session with a spin through the final corner, and he ends it on pole position for the Austrian Grand Prix. What an impressive showing from Rayan. He will be mighty proud with that one. And dare I say, the first Algerian pole position sitter we've ever had in PSGL F2. I don't have a stat check on that one, but I would like to be fairly certain. But yeah, extremely, extremely close. Byron, why don't you run us through the qualifying results?
Well, you're probably right, actually. It is our first pole position, and, well, Rayan takes it, followed by Draga there in second. The margin's so fine, just 0.003 there between the 2 of them. Followed by Hazara in third. Ignore the grip penalty, there is going to be a restart. Danielle in 4th. Thomas Covers there in 5th. 6th for Fusilo there. Francesco Largo there in 7th. Not a bad qualifying session for him. Diogo Silva there in 8th. 9th for Marcus Costa. Fede in 10th. Disappointing for the championship leader to be 2 tenths off the pace, quite down the order. Devin in 11th, Luke 12th, 30th Chiquita, M-Lash there in 14th, Johan in 15th, Will Murdoch there in 16th, Phil, Tales, Max van der Geest and Dirk rounding out the grid. But remember, Max van der Geest and Dirk had a qualifying ban, and as a result, were not able to set a time. But I mean, the highlight of that qualifying session, it has to be Ryan there, because how? How did they manage to get pole position, such fine margins? Brilliant stuff from everyone.
Yes, incredible. We will have a full qualifying debrief coming up to you after a short commercial break. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Oops, Byron has morphed into a YouTube stream chat again. There we go, he's back. Welcome back to PSGL F2. What a qualifying we had in Austria. It is Rayan on pole position, the man currently 15th in the PSGL Drivers' Championship, as you can see on your screens. And he's ahead of the man 5th in the PSGL Drivers' Championship, Shizu Dara. An absolute excellent showcase of precision, I suppose, from those guys there. 0.002 separating Rayan and Dara at the top of qualifying. I wasn't sure whether it was the first Algerian pole sitter, but I think I can be pretty sure it's the first Algerian-Irish front row in PSGL F2 history.
I feel like that's probably a pretty safe bet, that one. But I mean, you just gotta think to see those drivers who were further down the order, not quite where maybe we expected them to be. All of a sudden, they've rocked up to the Red Bull Ring and they've bought like 4 tenths of pace that we didn't know they had as of last round. So very interesting to see, you know. And it was very interesting. Fede really down the order there, championship leader, good opportunity for those around him. And it means that the grid, the qualifying ban of Dirk, it has less value now because it's not allowed. Fede hasn't been able to capitalize maybe as much as he would have wanted.
Yes, there's a lot to talk about in this race, I feel. I think we have a lot ahead. Strategy is a bit of a different one. Usually you'd think, oh, well, undercut pit early, but we saw once in a PSGL PC race Thomas Ronhar go for the overcut, and that's kind of changed the strategy around here since then. Is the overcut the better strategy, Byron, from what you've seen?
I'm no professional at the end of the day,
No,
but I
know
think
I
we'll
haven't,
see
so.
Yeah, I mean, we aren't professionals at the end of the day. We're just here to bring you and talk over the action. But if I was to put my money on it, I think we're still going to see a fairly typical strategy from these drivers. You know, probably definitely going to be a 1-stop. We might see a 2-stop from those who want to be really aggressive, but very unlikely. You know, but the undercut, overcut, it's a bit hit and miss. It depends on where you are, really, and depends what happens around you. If there's a safety car early on, the undercut, it might have a little bit more value, but the overcut, if there's a safety car later on, you never know. Anything can happen, really, and with the chance of a safety car ever looming around this sort of circuit, you know, don't count anyone out and don't count any strategy out, because you never know. Someone could win with a 6-stopper.
Theoretically, they could. You're not wrong. Just like to take this chance to point out our sponsors, of course, at the bottom of the screen. You can see GT Omega and Sim Racing Centre. Big thanks to GT Omega nonetheless. But more importantly, subscribe to the PSGL YouTube channel. Go check out our social media channels. Would like to give a quick shout out to our new TikTok editor. Honestly, He's smashing it. Really enjoying some of those edits. They're quite cool. I love a good TikTok edit. There's a very good Jana Ottmere one about Austria, which you could watch while we're on our break here. I've been running you through the first recorded winners of PSGL F2 around different tracks, and it is my delight to report someone else other than Backers F1 is reported. Obviously, Backers F1 Season 6, his fantastic run was on F1 2012. The Red Bull Ring, well, that didn't return until 2014. So it was F1 2014 when the Red Bull Ring returned. That was season 12 of PSGL F2, and it was Radek 9 who won for the Scuderia Ferrari team. So Ferrari, we saw them good in qualifying, maybe a little bit of a throwback to season 12 in store. But for Fede, it's important to keep picking up strong results here, Byron. He is in the lead of the championship, but he's got to keep consistent.
Yeah, very important to keep consistent here, because you got to think these drivers, it's easy to, become just a little bit on the complacent side, especially, if you're out in front, you think, hey, I've got this all under control, but that never is a guarantee, especially around this sort of circuit. But nonetheless, going to be very careful around here to get everything precise. Fede, starting 10th, you can't say he's been complacent at all. He's definitely tried, he's definitely put in the effort, but nonetheless, not where he'd want to be. So going to have to be looking forward and hopefully not backwards, but you never know. Anything could happen around this sort of circuit, but I think you've got to keep an eye on Fede, definitely Dirk as well. He's got a lot of things to try and do in this race. He's got to try and move up the order, get some good points, and Fede's got to try and score as many over Dirk as he possibly can.
Yeah, bit of a driver insight. Will Murdoch has just said in our Discord, why is Facilo good now? It's a bit harsh, a bit on the harsher side of things from Will. But if you want someone to speak their mind, go have a conversation with Will Murdoch. He will tell you what is a what. Let's take a look, however, a brief moment once I get the graphic ready at your track for this evening. Obviously, you saw it in qualifying, of course, but it is a very, very short racing circuit, of course, this Austrian Grand Prix. It's a 4.318 kilometre circuit, 2.683 miles, only the 10 corners. Is designed, or at least the new Red Bull Ring is designed by Hermann Tilke. 32 gear changes per lap average. Believe that is one of the lowest in Formula 1. It has a 63.5 metre elevation change over the lap. That is second to Spa-Francorchamps on the Formula 1 World Championship calendar. Of course, Rouge Radion, you know yourself. It is the quickest lap time in F1, but Byron, how, by lap distance, where does it rank in shortest circuits, do you reckon? Bit of a pub quiz question for you.
Ooh. Is it second?
See, you would be right to think that, and I would be inclined to assume you're going to put Monaco as your first.
Monaco is definitely the shortest track.
It is.
Because it doesn't actually meet the 300-kilometre limit in terms of the allotted time for the race. So
you're spot on with that one, yes. But Austria is actually the fourth shortest in race distance. It is behind Mexico and Brazil, which is a very intriguing one, I thought. At least Niki Lauda, the only Austrian driver to win here. He won the 1984 race here en route to his third World Championship. It's actually 600 metres above sea level as well, one of the highest above sea level on the Formula 1 calendar, in global motorsport actually, as well. And 60% of the Styrian surrounding region is covered by forests. And yeah, that's pretty much as good a track rundown as I can give on short notice. Ferrari, of course, had an infamous team orders incident here in 2002. I wonder, will we see something similar this evening, maybe with Fede and Danielle, because the two Ferraris are quite close. But Byron, we will be heading to the racetrack shortly. Who's going to win? Who's going to win tonight's race?
Oh, I have no idea. I've got the qualifying results still on the right-hand side of my screen because it hasn't taken it away from the qualifying session. I have not a clue. I'm going to go on a whim, and I'm going to say Hazara is going to win tonight. And I know that's going to be the absolute commentator's curse, and it's
Didn't you get
not
it
going to
right
happen
last
at
week,
all.
technically?
I technically did get it right last week, but commentator's curse,
Quinton
I'm
took
saying
it
it's going to...
away.
They got a penalty, so was I really right? That's it's up for debate. But I'm going to say
give
I
it to
was
you.
right.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I'm going to say Hazara tonight.
I think it's a good prediction, honestly. I think Hazara is a good prediction. Hazara has been very solid this season. The last time we came to Austria, there was many of the drivers on the grid here this evening. Diogo Silva covers, Max, Johan Fede, Danielle all scored points. But will it be Hazara's crowning day here this evening at the Red Bull Ring? Of course, formerly the A1 Ring. We were last here in season 35. It's time for the season 36 Grand Prix. It's round number 4 of the PSGL F2 Championship, and we go racing here in Austria. That is a brilliant start from Rayan. Forces Dara to cut inside, inside behind the Haas, I should say. Hazara side by side with Danielle as well. One of the Red Bulls, Francesco Lago, goes way off at the Niki Lauda curve of turn number 1. Up the hill we go for the first time. Dara looking to take an early race lead in towards turn number 3 of Remus. On the inside of his fellow Ferrari-powered car, the Sauber is looking to get a better exit down towards the Schloss goal here. They'll be 2 abreast until they reach the apex of that corner. This is going to be a test of bravery. Who can break the later of the 2 in towards turn number 4? They both break at a pretty even point, but it looks like it's going to be Dara to take the race lead. No, Rayan will have the inside for this next corner.
Yeah, not looking too bad, but, well, they're Dara in the race lead as things stand, but you got to think about the drivers behind, especially Rayan. His good start to the race and not looking too bad for the Haas, but Hazara obviously in close behind as well. The entire grid so close as things stand. The entire field separated by 5 seconds from start to finish. So very close so far in this race, but nonetheless, we're getting on to lap number 2. Obviously, Dara setting the fastest lap because he was the first driver to cross the line, but nonetheless, Rain is already trying to apply the pressure to Dara once again.
Max van der Gies, the only man not to stand on the hard compound tyres. He's gone for the Pirelli soft compound, the softest compound available here at the Red Bull Ring this evening. Will Murdoch is into the pit lane on the opening lap. CPI Devon trying to move up the inside of the Mercedes of Gilles Johan. Bit of ghosting in front for Francesco Lago, who we saw get very adventurous at turn number 1 and have to take the escape road there. The Alpine is still on the inside of Johan, braking for that right-hander. Is he going to be as brave as Dara was maybe to get the move done there? It doesn't look like it. Seems like Devon will have to hang it around the outside here for Rauk. It's possible, but it is brave and it won't be achieved on this occasion. Gilles Johan does stay ahead for the time being, and the Mercedesman will remain in 12th place.
Yeah, not looking too bad as things stand. The action continuing kind of across the grid, you know, but the difficulty here that they've got is, well, you know, they've got to think Max van der Gies already retiring. That's actually a virtual safety car. I believe, actually, he's spun at the final corner in collision, possibly, with Tales there.
Oh, he's hit the pit wall, I think.
Yeah, he's hit the pit wall by the seams of it. I have no idea what has just happened there, but that is very confusing. Something to do with Tales. I mean, full course safety car now, so that's going to provide a bit of an interesting scenario to this race. And actually, Will Murdoch could be in a fairly good position here because he's on a set of medium compound tyres, and well, those around him are on hard compound tyres, and he's already pit in this race because he pit at the end of lap 1. But your order as we trundle around now under these safety car conditions is Dara there out in front, followed by Rayan, Hazara, Danielle there, Thomas Covers, Fusilo, Diogo Silva, Luke, Marcus Costa, and Fede, who's still where he started, interestingly enough. But Luke has gained 4 places since the start of this race, so he is not looking too bad. And this one started all the way down in 12th. But interesting to see Fede not gaining places at a track and a race where he really needs to gain places, especially with Dirk having that qualifying ban.
I think if you're Max van der Gies, you've had a pretty bad evening. And I think Mr. Evan Dalton's better make it worse. That means his 5 seconds, I think, is going to carry over to the next race, which is in Montreal, of course, next Monday. The front man into the pit lane, I should say, is Thomas Covers off that hard tyre. This is a really good call, I think, because these guys can do medium till the end of the race. Bring that medium until when the hard is pulling into the pit lane. just pit at the same time, but they'll have a severe pace advantage for this first stint. I really like that call from these guys. I really think that's a good call. And one man I'm surprised he didn't do it is Tales, because he did this 2 seasons ago in the Red Bull. He pitted for a set of softs and an early safety car while on the hards, pitted for a set of softs, blitzed through the field, pitted at the same time as the guys in the hards, took a set of mediums to the end of the race. Now, unfortunately, was involved in some collisions, so he didn't really get the result he deserved. But I like creative strategy calls, and I think that's a very creative and one that could work from these guys. Phil has gone completely off the order, and he's gone for a set of softs.
Yeah, absolutely. Bit of an interesting one from him. Maybe taking the softs as far as he can, and then onto a set of mediums, or back onto a sort of hard compound tyre, possibly. Because the scrub set, it's only done 3 laps, so it's not going to be all too worn anyway. But nonetheless, under these safety car conditions, a few drivers pitting. Obviously, surprising to see that Talas didn't pit, to be fair. As you mentioned, he's pulled this sort of strategy before. But also, he was last on the grid. He really had nothing to lose by coming into the pit lane, and it probably could have given him a better strategy, doing that medium. But at the end of the day, he chose not to do it. Chose that track position. He is in 10th, 9th. Actually, no, he's gone into the pit lane. So he's just gone a lap later, actually, which could actually work to his benefit, because now he'll have a slight tyre advantage versus those ahead. So possibly, Tales has decided, and maybe been listening, and decided to pull that strategy, and might even get the advantage from it, because now, actually, he's changing his wing, but he'll have a tyre offset advantage versus the rest of the field, because he'll have a lap fresher tyres, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it could add up here.
It's intriguing. He's gone back onto his set of hard... Is that a fresh set of hard tyres, actually? They've done 0 laps. He definitely started on the hards, because the only man who didn't was Max van der Geest, who unfortunately we have lost from this Austrian Grand Prix. Maybe he went for the harder tyre preset and took 2 sets, which, I mean, it's worked out. I suppose hindsight is usually a wonderful thing when you look back on past mistakes. He'll be looking back very happy he made that decision. Safety car could be in the end of this lap. Usually comes in when the field bunches up on the second time round. And we might be in come the end of this lap. The safety car lights are still on, and now they're off. So the safety car will be in. It'll be Dara Smith who'll conduct his first safety car restart in the PSGL F2 season.
Yeah, it's going to be a crucial restart for him as well, because Rayan behind, he's going to want to get that place back, and they were very close on the track. They weren't really separated by all too much. So Rayan in second here, going to be looking to try and mount the pressure, but obviously Hazara behind, not looking too bad at all. But everyone's going to be, you know, got a lot of fuel out of this safety car, so it'll be interesting to see when Dara goes. He's already gone, really, by the seams of it. He didn't wait up until the line, and he's caught Rayan a little bit off guard there. Already 4 tenths the gap between the two, but Hazara also trundling around and not gaining as much out of that. In fact, no real overtakes going down as we go into turn number 1. But as we head up the hill on lap number 6 of 36, we're back under those green flag conditions, and this is where we might start to see a bit of squabbling, a bit of fighting, and a bit of scrapping there as we go up the hill once more, but no one taking the opportunity to make an overtake or a lunge there. But now, as we head down into the cul-de-sac there, as we go down towards that turn number 4, a difficult corner, but one that a lot of people love a good overtake at.
Yeah, it's dive bomb territory. Who doesn't love a good dive bomb, as we see CPI Luke falling behind Marcus Costa. I'm not sure if he let him through there or something, but seemed very slow off the corner, did the Sauber. And the McLaren drove through pretty quickly. Thomas Covers already on the back here of the Alpine of CPI Devon. Pardon me, he's looking to pounce here as the DRS will be active in a couple of laps time, and that will allow these guys to get a absolute rocket boost almost behind the car in front. Rayan sets the fastest lap of the race. It's beaten by those behind. That's of course just due to the safety car restart, as now Max van der Geest does leave the session. You can see at the bottom of your screen, disappointing evening for him. Is Rayan maybe going to look for the race lead here? Gaining and gaining up the hill. The Haas and the Sauber soar, but there'll be no overtaking opportunity this time round, and the status quo will remain. This is Devon going for a move on Johan. We saw these two scrapping in the early parts of the race. This battle commences after the safety car restart, and down towards the slush goal, the Alpine has now got the job done. He won't have to fight this one in the braking zone, just got a way better exit and is now not the last remaining hard tyre runner. Look at this, he's got a run on his CPI teammate, CPI Luke as well. Here comes Devon trying to slingshot it round the outside, heading through Rauk. Luke does have the line through here though. It was optimistic from Devon. 1 was good, 2 would have been better, but 2 he will have to wait for, as he is still looking way quicker than Luke. There's good pace in this Alpine.
Absolutely, but Luke really looks to be quite a bit slower than the rest of the field here. He was the only driver, I believe, he was the only driver in the 107's last lap, so he's really struggling out there for pace on those tyres, and it's very difficult for him, unfortunately, but nonetheless, in this race, it's a bit, you know, hit and miss for him, and he doesn't seem to be doing too well on those tyres. But look behind there, as Fede is losing places too and trying to battle there, as there's a 3-wide moment, and someone goes wide there. That's Johan. Wide on the exit there is now Fede, side by side with Thomas Covers as we head down into Slush Gold once more, and this is where we're going to start seeing the scrap. Johan there back behind with Emlash there as they go down into walls. And now on the exit into turn number 6 here. Such good racing between the pair of them here. And it is Johan there who's on the back foot. Amlash ahead there. But Fede, importantly, down a place versus Thomas Covers. He's not even in the top 10 anymore. Very interesting to see the lack of pace that Fede seems to have. We thought maybe it's just a qualifying issue, but it is not really translating because there seems to be a bit of a race pace issue here as well for Fede.
Yeah, seems to be struggling a little bit through the corners. We just took a quick look through the Jochen Rindt curve and the Red Bull Mobile curve at turn number 9 and 10. Wasn't really taking the corners the way he wants. Oh, that's a tank slapper. Right as we're talking about the Ferraris, a massive moment coming out of turn number 1. Thomas Covers getting the job done on CPI Devon, despite Devon's good pace. He has burned a lot of ERS, though. That could really come to hamper him come late race. Marcus Costa runs wide in front. That opens the door for CPI Luke. He'll tuck into the slipstream, but Thomas Covers is on the tail of him and is looking to pounce in towards the Schloss Gold. Won't happen this time round, but certainly the next hole. Will it happen this time round? Thomas Covers has broke about 50 metres later than any human should be able to, and he's managed to sneak a wheel up the inside with the poor run that Marcus Costa got. He's up to 8th place in this race. Do not count out Thomas Covers to avenge his losses at the Austrian Grand Prix.
No, absolutely not. He's looking in fine form. Interestingly, the top drivers are all slower. The top 10 are so much slower than those behind. In fact, by a couple of tenths every single lap, it seems, as things stand. But Dara still leading the way here ahead of Rayan there. But as we get an overtake there, that's Fede ahead of Devon. Once again, Devon's pace beginning to struggle a little bit more. And Fede, you know, he's still looking quite good in this race as well. His current laps not looking too bad at all. In fact, the last time around, he was faster than those around him. Is there? We see Emlash there losing a few places too, as we have a change for the lead. That is Rayan. No, we don't actually, but it was close.
Go ahead briefly.
To a change for the lead. Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, that just proves I just saw something change and got a little bit confused. But Marcus Costa, we were just talking about him and how he was trying to get this race back on track, and it's it's gone back on track because now the other McLaren is back down to the back of the grid, 19th there. Devon's also there down in 18th place, so he's had an issue as well. In fact, he's lost an end plate off front wing on that right-hand side. Jakita losing places too. He's got some front wing missing too, as does Johannes. That's 4 drivers into the pit lane, 5 drivers, 6 drivers. Everyone's coming to the pit lane on lap 11 on 36. That's Francesco Largo into the pit lane for a change of front wing 2, as is Emlash Dirt. So many drivers got front wing damage. I have no idea what happened. And yeah, poor Alpine. There's a double stack there for Devon. I'm sure.
Oh, the free wide here for the race lead, Byron. Sorry to jump in, but Rayan, Dara, and Hazara almost went free wide for the race lead. Dara now on the inside of Rayan, still looking to defend. He's not going to defend the race lead. He's just looking to defend second position. Hazara has to fall behind. That was a weird couple of laps. We had about every car in the bottom half of the field pull into the pit lane. Both McLarens now out of the Austrian Grand Prix, as Marcus Costa, who was trying to get his race back on track, he got his back to the track, I suppose, as he spun round, and he's now retired from the Grand Prix. A bad season for McLaren, kind of just gets worse. It was 9th in the championship last season. It's not looking much better for the time being.
No, it's absolutely not. It's been a torrid start to McLaren's season here in season 36 of PSF2, but it's been a great start to the race for Rayan here, as well as Dara there and Hazara. You know, they're looking really good here in this race trim. You know, we thought, you know, those drivers behind who we typically see do very strong in races. Hazara thinks about a move there on Dara there as we go along another DRS straight. This is the second DRS straight along a lap. Francesco Lago there getting a 3-second time penalty. Those behind squabbling on those tyres. They're beginning to, after that front wing change, they're going to be a few seconds down, but they might be able to catch that up. So we'll keep an eye on the pace of them. But look at the pace that Hazara, Dara, and Rayan have in this race. We, you know, especially for Rayan and Hazara, we're not too used to seeing them this high up, as Dirk has had an incident there. He's lost a few places up the hill, so Dirk's race, you know, it's not going his way, unfortunately, which is probably going to be music to the ears of Fede, but nonetheless, Rayan, Dara, and Hazara not used to being in the top three, but here they are, and they're doing a brilliant job here tonight.
Oh, bit of a slide for Thomas Covers as he was looking for a move up the inside of the TRT Danielle. This is a smart drive so far from Thomas Covers, I have to say. He's just picking the right points to go for battles. I think, there's a bit of a front wing gone flying there. That is Hazara's front wing who's gone flying as he shattered it in behind one of the Ferrari-powered cars in front of him. They're too wide in front. Hazara's going on the grass. Hazara's going on the grass here in towards the slush goal. No front wing. Ultimate risk. Hazara goes for the grass for the race lead. Dara has a tank slapper on the edge of the curb. This is incredibly close between the race win protagonists. Rayan now hits the back of the Aston Martin, has a half spin, hits Thomas Covers, whose bad luck inevitably strikes him once again. The race lead has just opened up. Hazara has front wing damage. Rayan has made an almighty blunder. It is Dara versus Danielle, Irish versus Italian, for the battle for the race lead here. Surely the Norwegian is continuing on, but this front wing damage has got to surely be affecting him. Here they go in towards the first corner. Dara doesn't want to take it too early, wants to wait until a more realistic overtaking opportunity approaches. Maybe, potentially, heading up the hill. Here comes the Alpha, or the Sauber, I should say, apologies, in towards the right-hander, goes for the outside, and is going to have to work the long way around here. Hazara plays this well, knows he will inevitably have, he will inevitably run wide, because he doesn't have, ultimate downforce, as here we go. Oh, bit of a late move there from Hazara, but all clean, all fair, and Dara now takes the race lead once again. Wow, was that a dramatic lap. As Hazara, is he still going to work it up the inside here? This is almost silly beggars from the two, but Hazara's not going to be able to take the race lead. Simply does not have enough grip. The real question for the Norwegian here is his pace still doesn't seem too bad, but do you fix that front wing in the pit lane?
Well, it's certainly a thing to think about, but, well, at least according to, you know, my telemetry, it's saying he hasn't got any damage, but
he definitely does.
It's affecting him enough, because whatever damage he does have, he's coming to the pit lane. Surely he doesn't retire. He's in contention for a good result here. Surely you don't put it all in the bin because you've got, you know, a bit of an unlucky situation, but changing that front wing in the pit lane is disappointing for Hazara, but nonetheless, not looking too shabby in this race. The pace was great, but just that incident really holding them back. But now it is Draga leading ahead of Danielle there and Fusilio there in third. Dio Silva, though, it's a good weekend if you're a Williams fan, because it's not looking too bad for them as things stand.
No, it is not, and Williams won this race last year out of a very similar position. They didn't really seem to be anywhere in the opening stint. Second stint came, and they arrived with some good pace, some good strategy calls, and managed to win this Austrian Grand Prix. If you're just joining us, what a time to tune in to PSGL F2. We've got a race in our hands, and if your name is Dara Smith, you are trying to be gone with the wind here. He has potential to drop Danielle out of his DRS. It's not looking like he will do it for the time being. Runs a bit wide for the first corner as well. That won't help him. But what an opportunity. It seemed like his two rivals here in this one were Hazara and Rayan. They've both run into trouble. They have come into the pit lane, however, so an undercut could be at play. As big lunge from Thomas covers here as well. Thomas was unlucky in that incident, got shoved onto the grass, but I think he's kept all parts of his carbon fibre car, and he is still in this race, looking for a move up the inside of CPI Luke. He's got past all these guys once before, has to do it all again here, and this is looking like job complete. Yes, it is.
Yeah, not looking too bad as things stand in this race at all. Really good so far for them. But interestingly, I'm finally being able to get you a little bit of information. And for some reason, it seems like a certain Phil might have damage in this race.
Oh, no.
No, actually, it's Tales, I believe, who's got a small amount of front wing damage. It's not showing up on stream, but it is showing up on my telemetry. So it looks like Tales has a bit of front wing damage that is maybe coming and creeping in just ever so slightly and hurting the pace, but nonetheless not looking too bad. Devin, 3-second time penalty, that is going to hurt their race ever so slightly, but Danielle continuing to try and apply the pressure here.
Yes, he is. Sorry, Byron. You caught me mid-water gulp. That's payback for the Hoss Cross Bun incident of qualifying. Phil has actually got the job done on Will Murdoch, so it seems like it is Tales with the damage. As someone said in the stream chat, I can't remember who, but I think it was Troy, and I have to agree with them. Phil could be going to the end here. He can do it. The tyres can technically make it. It will be a stretch, but if no safety cars came out, it could be an avenue worth taking. Will either of these two guys commit to the pits? No, they will not. It is crucial to not make a mistake on your pit entry, of course. Hazara just about stayed in, I think. I think he touched the white line, but didn't cross. I think that's okay by the PSGL steward standards. I know the Austria pit lane is probably the most talked about incident. I've been a victim of it myself in the past, as Danielle is going to take the race lead here as well. This is going to be a fairly straightforward one for the Ferrari man. And it seems like every week we have a new Ferrari driver competing at the front. It's Fede, Danielle, Fede, and now once again it is Danielle.
Yeah, interestingly, on that note of tyre talk, looking at the drivers around who've done about the same number of laps, I'm looking back on those out in front, and I'm not quite sure. I'm not convinced that he's going to be able to take them to the end of this race. There's a long way to go on those tyres to go. 32 laps on them, given that after 13 laps, Diego Silva was on 30%, and the same is pretty much consistent for everyone who has been on those hard tyres. After about 13 laps, they were on about 30%. So trying to take them well into the 60s, you know, you're getting towards that puncture territory. You're not going to have much pace. If there's a late race safety car, it's going to be pain. But speaking of the pit lane and coming in for a change of tyres, it's Fusilo, Thomas Covers, Luke and Danielle all coming in for a change of tyres. And it's going to be on to the mediums for all of them.
Yes, very crucial here where Rayan comes out in this fight. I think that's the Ferrari coming out, but no, he's way ahead. Rayan and Hazara are not out of this race. Here is Hazara heading out of turn number 1. He's got to be into the slipstream of Danielle, and he will breeze past because Danielle is just getting back up to speed after the pit exit. So Rayan and Hazara are not out of this race just yet. The crucial thing is a tyre advantage for those who have just come into the pit lane. This is Fasilo and Johan, who are side by side to a veteran drivers almost at this point, I suppose you could say, of PSGL F2. But that is Fasilo who will stay in front. It is, well, the theoretical battle for the race lead. It will be Dara, Rayan, Hazara and Danielle here, and Fasilo. The big thing is, what's that deficit going to be between 5 and 4 lap old mediums and fresh ones?
Well, it's going to be quite a bit. You know, Hazara, he's already looking at around, hang on, let me have a little look for you just to tell you what it is saying. In fact, actually, it's just decided not to give me anything at all. I can't even tell you what tyre wear he has, because he has his telemetry turn off, which is always very useful. But if you look at someone who's been on their tyres that little bit longer, and we can look at the data for about 11% after 4 laps, it's going to be a stretch for Hazara, but they're trying to battle with Danielle up the hill, but Danielle got those tyres warmed up a little bit more now, and that pace is going to be there as Thomas Covers goes with Dreyer down the straight, and both got DRS. But if you look at Thomas Covers, he's tucked into the slipstream of Fuselo just a little bit more, so it is going to help him down the straight and get past Dragon there into Josh Gold there, which is turn number 5 as we go down into turn number 6. Nicely done for Thomas Covers, as we've said already, having a great race here. Was on those tyres for about 15 laps, just set a purple sector 1-2, so not too bad for the AlphaTauri as things stand as Tallers comes into the pit lane, and it will be Rayan out in front by 1.3 seconds ahead of Hazara. But Rayan needs to be careful. 2 warnings to their name.
Not sure if Tellers is a stat padder, but if he is, he's just led a lap in PSGL this season, so fair play to him. It was a Haas 1-2, technically, crossing the line, start lap number 21. Here comes Danielle, going to breeze past Hazara up the hill here on those 2-lap old mediums, and he is in hot pursuit of Rayan in front. This is really a tactical game now. We are endeavouring on, or we are embarking, I should say, on a journey of high-speed chess here around the Red Bull Ring. Thomas Covers is now going to weave his way past Vasilo. This is brave on the brakes for Thomas Covers, and the Williams turns in a bit too steeply. There for my liking anyway, certainly for Covers' liking, but he gets past nonetheless. Dower going to try and breeze this one around the outside here in towards Rauk of turn number 6. Not more of a sensible land than that one to go for that. He might have been shoved onto the gravel there, maybe like Charles Leclerc and Checo Perez did back in 2021. Danielle has already caught Rayan. My goodness me! Maybe tactical games from Rayan here. There is a yellow flag in the second sector. That is CPI Devon on a virtual safety car. Okay, that was he's called a bit quickly there, but he has lost the front wing.
Yeah, lost a front wing. Clearly the in-game stewards deciding there's carbon fibre on the track or something.
Wow,
well, that Alpine, especially in yeah, lost a lot of that.
Looking on the onboard, there's nothing there, pretty much.
Yeah.
Looks like one of those mini cars, you know, the ones on the F1 Kids broadcast with the front wing that's tiny.
Yeah, well, no surprises there. Into the pit lane, no front wing left on that Alpine. They're used to having a lot of carbon fibre, especially in 2024, because you've seen how much carbon fibre is on that car, but nonetheless, they've lost a bit of that carbon fibre. Maybe a weight-saving measure from Alpine, but nonetheless, well, virtual safety car called because of it, but under that virtual safety car, a bit of a reset, especially good for those drivers who burnt maybe a lot of their battery. I'm thinking of Hazara here, who's on about 60% battery, gives him an opportunity to just recharge a little bit versus those in front who have been a little bit more conservative with their battery and won't gain as much out of this. And it does mean Hazara will have a bit more to fight with, a bit more to play with now as the virtual safety car ends. But look at the reaction of Thomas Covers there, already ahead of Hazara there as we go into turn number 9, into turn 10. He's comfortably ahead, and look behind because Dara there thought about an overtake on Fuselo there as we go and begin lap number 23 of 36 here at the Red Bull Ring. And now things are opening up in this race because Thomas Covers has caught up to this top 2, Danielle and Rayan. They wanted to get a comfortable advantage in this one, but nonetheless they haven't been able to, as Fuselo there gets ahead of Hazara, but he tries to fight it. Hazara, the Norwegian there, down the straight as we go down is cross this second DRS straight here. The flat open for everyone minus Danielle here, and nearly 3 wide into the braking zone. It is 3 wide into the braking zone. It's a late lunge from Dara there, who gets ahead of Hazara. Fuselo there down a place versus Hazara, but gets that back up, and now they go side by side as they try to there through turn 6, but not quite able to, and it is Fuselo up one place, Dara up another. Hazara though down 2, and now being pressured by Luke, who's going to try and overtake into turn number 9. 2 does not go into 1, and Luke has gone around there, and that is unfortunate for Luke there. He's taken the front wing out in the he's retired.
Oh no.
That is gutting, and it's a safety car.
Oh, that's amateur hour.
That is very interesting. That is almost amateurish there of Luke, unfortunately, but at least, you know, at least the car is on the side of the track, I suppose. But safety car conditions, lap 24 of 36. If anyone wanted to pull an extra stop here, it could pay dividends. We've seen the pace difference between Hazara, who's on slightly more worn mediums, versus those fresh mediums. It is going to pay dividends to pit here. I would definitely expect to see Rayan and Hazara in, possibly even Fede, Francesco Lago, Emlash, Jahita as well. I'm expecting to see all of those into the pit lane, but this safety car has really changed things up here in Austria.
What was a piece of driving brilliance from one Sauber with Dara Smith going down the inside of Facilio and Hazara. That was pure bravery and fantastic racing. Luke unfortunately could not repeat the same standard of overtake, went for a move in towards the Jochen Rindt curve, which is traditionally not an overtaking opportunity, and then it was a little bit of a you've been framed moment to spin back round. Look at this, we're going to have a soft tyre sprint to the end of this race. None of these guys risking staying out. They'll all be into the pit lane. Someone's got to stay out. It is last season's winner. Diogo Silva is going to stay out and try go back-to-back at the Red Bull Ring. The Portuguese man is going to try something, as is Will Murdoch. Oh my goodness me. The last man you want to try have to overtake is Will Murdoch. Of course, these guys all have fresh softs because we did have one of many qualifying restarts. So they'll all be on the fresh softs. Facilo, though, has gone for the mediums. Doesn't feel the softs will make it. Your current running order, it is Enelor Diogo Silva in the lead of the race for Williams. Will Murdoch, the Brit, is in second position, Mr. Olympian. It is then Tales in third, ahead of Danielle in fourth, Rayan in fifth, with Thomas Covers in sixth position. Then it is Shazoo Dara Smith in seventh, Shazoo Facilo in eighth, with Hazara in ninth, the Norwegian, who picked up front wing damage on lap 11 of this Grand Prix, but still lives to tell the tale. G-League Johan is in 10th, with TRT Fede in 11th, and then Francesco Lago, ML Slash, Yakita, IRT Phil, and CPI Devon, who we saw bring out a VSC a couple laps ago. He'll get a chance to get back into this race. Currently only 4 penalties on the grid as of now. It's a 5 seconds for Tales for speeding in the pit lane, and then there's 3 seconds for Francesco Lago, his teammate Phil, and Devon for 3 track limit extensions. Oh, we've got a race in our hands, I think.
Absolutely. I'm very interested by the gamble there from the likes who've gone on to another set of medium tyres. And actually, I've just had a little look at the telemetry, and no one has run the soft tyres for longer than a lap in this race. I kid you not. We had, obviously, Max van der Geest, who was out in this race on lap number 1, so he did 1 lap on these tyres. Phil came in for a sat during one of these safety cars, and as a result, changed off them very quickly, only did 1 lap on them. So this is the first race running on a set of soft tyres here at the Red Bull Ring in this race, which means they have no data to go on. We have no idea how quickly they're going to wear. So that is simply those drivers behind of Fede, Francesco Lago and Chiquita there being a bit more conservative, but they're trying to play it on the smarter side, thinking, what if those soft tyres wear too quickly? I could gain a whole host of positions here, because all of a sudden everyone's losing pace around me. I'm on a set of tyres that don't wear as quickly, and I've got a lot of advantage. I've got a lot of pace on my hand. So definitely an interesting strategy call. Will it work? I'm more interested in that top 2, Diogo Silva and Will Murdoch. Did they not look at last race when we had this exact scenario? We had a safety car towards the end, and those who pit for a set of soft tyres, they paid dividends massively by not being on worn tyres. I'm not sure if it's a worthy gamble for them, but it's going to be interesting to see how far they fall, because I have no doubt that they will.
This is going to be intriguing. Safety car will not be in at the end of this lap. We will do one more. Let's see what the stream chat has been saying. Matteo, last season's champion. Matteo, it's a pleasure to have you back here with us. Says Danielle has this easily, but hope Hazara stays in the leading positions even with worse tyres. That is, of course, before the safety car restart. Then it was FN, or, excuse me if I butcher this, QAIS. How was that? Quais? You can get a Twitter clip out of it, with me completely butchering your name. If you'd like to teach me how to say it, greatly appreciate that. He says perfect for Hazara. Francie saying Gripsesco already stinking. That is a comment towards Francesco Lago. That all in good nature, though. A good little community in the league racing community using that joke. It's all in good nature, of course. Logan, one of our commentary crew, given the exact distance of Monaco from our pre-race discussion, and then it was NAS QAI again. I wonder if that same person on 2 different accounts saying Hazara going to win. So that wasn't really a great moment for me reading chat names, but the safety car is going to be in this lap. It'll be a 8 or 9 lap sprint to the end of this race.
Yeah, an 8-lap sprint. That's exactly what we're
8-lap
going to
sprint.
want to see.
knew
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. It's going to be a great. Maths is difficult. I mean, it's been a while since I passed my GCSEs. Maths is difficult.
No, I
for me
always
now,
get
but-
confused because it's like, say it's 36 minus 26, that's 10, but it's 11 laps. That always throws me. Like 36
True.
minus 27 is 9, but
Yeah.
it's, I don't know,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense.
Guys,
Diogo Silva will lead the safety car restart, however. It's the 2 drivers on the medium tyres, and then there is others on mediums throughout the field, but they're on a lot fresher, so they will be able to keep up with the softs. The DRS will not be activated for lap 28 and lap 29. For lap 30, until the race finish, if there is no more safety cars, the DRS will be in play. The former Austrian Grand Prix winner, the season 35 F2 Austrian Grand Prix winner, is holding the field, heading for the final corner. And in towards the Red Bull mobile curve, he accelerates and we go racing once again here at the Austrian Grand Prix. This is going to be crucial for Daniel for when he can dispatch the top 2 heading in towards the Jochen Rindt curve now. He's got a good run on them.
yeah, he's not looking too bad in this one at all. Using the overtake button here up the hill as well. I don't even think he's going to need to worry about using the overtake button here side by side with Will Murdoch, as we go into turn number 3. A bit of contact between the top 2 there as Will Murdoch and Diogo Silva there. Will Murdoch clips the back of Diogo Silva, but now Daniel, already ahead there as Will Murdoch now comes to battle with the Ryan here. I said that it was a gamble. They should have looked at last race, and it is really showing because they are feeling the pain already here under green flag conditions on lap 28 of 36. The moving happening so much already. Ryan, though, ahead here of Danielle here, and Will Murdoch getting back ahead of Danielle here as well. So Ryan has had a great restart to gain a few places here, and now it is down to him to chase after Diogo Silva. He was the race leader. He took pole position in this race, and he has not been there for quite a little while. But now, as we head on to lap 29, it is Ryan back out in front there, ahead of Diogo Silva, and behind is Diogo Silva and Will Murdoch, followed by Danielle there on those fresh, soft compound tyres. He's going to make a move up the hill. You'd be expecting it, but not on this particular occasion from Danielle there, as actually he slings it around the outside on Will Murdoch. Surely he's left enough room. Absolutely great racing for the pair of these two, as now Danielle down into the braking zone. Who's going to come out in front here, as now it is Danielle here ahead of Will Murdoch, battling continuing behind though, as Hazara battles there, Fuselo and Yoan side by side there as well. And now Fuselo is gonna, try and battle with Yoan here, but he's got slightly, he's on those medium tyres, so he's gonna have less pace to begin with. But Yoan and, Fuselo side by side, and Fuselo comes out on top on that particular occasion. But look at Ryan, 1.2 seconds out in front as we head on to lap number 30.
Yet the protocol immediately here for Danielle is to overtake Diogo Silva and chase after the Haas before he has an easy race win. Will Murdoch tucked in behind Thomas Covers now. It seems that Diogo Silva and himself are slowly falling down the order as here comes Shizu Dara, the front rowman, getting past the Brit in towards turn number 3. Diogo Silva is back past Danielle. This is the last thing Danielle wants as he's nicked that behind of the Williams. He's now got Thomas Covers looking to attack him. Here comes the AlphaTauri. No slipstream, meaning Danielle will have the advantage here. Danielle's got to weave in between the two of them. That's risky. It's so risky from the Italian, but it is so worth it because he is up and ahead of Thomas Covers and Diogo Silva now. Thomas got the job done as well. It is Ryan, Danielle, Thomas, Diogo, Dara, Hazara, Will, Facilio, Johan, and Fede. Your top 10. Hazara picks up a 3-second time penalty. Race win chance has gone for the Norwegian, I fear, but it is looking like the race win chance may have gone for anyone other than Ryan. He had a perfect window of opportunity and he's grabbed it with both hands and taken it.
Absolutely. Interesting, my telemetry was saying Hazara was in fact Tales, which was a bit of an interesting one, but Ryan, he's doing great in this race. He's 1.7 out in front. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. Now it's down to Danielle and Thomas Covers to try and work together, knowing that, on this lap now, DRS enabled. Thomas Covers, it's down to him to try and work with Danielle to get up to the back of Ryan here as the battle continues behind Hazara back up into that top 5 now. here, and as he gets ahead of Diogo Silva there, as Will Murdoch there battles with Johan behind as well. Side by side we go into Schlossgold there, and it is Johan who gets out in top. No surprise there. Will Murdoch is really struggling on these tyres. Fuselo trying to battle there as well with Will Murdoch, and we said about how good of a defender Will Murdoch is. It's very difficult to battle with him, but those aging tyres, 11 laps he's been on them versus 6 laps soft. There is just no competition here. He is falling like a stone in water.
Yes, he is. Danielle and Thomas have caught 0.3 of a second on that last lap to Rayan, or something like that, but they have caught, and they're looking quick here. If they can just slipstream each other and work together, they might be able to get back within DRS of the race leader. And once you get back within DRS in Austria, you're back within contention. You will catch up like that. I've just clicked, I don't know if you heard it, but it's as quick as that, pretty much. Yes, Diogo Silva is trying to get past Johan. This is Fuselo trying to get past the championship leader Fede. These, of course, are in a championship fight, technically. Dirk has lost big points here today. Fede is looking to gain a lot in that championship. That's another big talking point as Francesco Lago, big move up the inside of Will Murdoch. Will is now outside the points. Diogo Silva is just clinging on in 7th position. Will, okay, he's back into them now because he has kept the car on the inside. Let's look at this up the front here, Byron. It is now under a second. This race is back on.
Absolutely, it was bound to happen. They worked together ever so slightly. They did benefit each other, but now Thomas Covers in the DRS there of Rayan, who took us away and started on pole. Will they finish where they started? That is the question. You know, it's very easy to, you know, especially in this current age of Formula 1 to say, you know, it's great to be first, you're winning all the time, but Rayan, he's definitely having to fight for this one. He was 1.7 out in front, but now that gap is just 0.4 of a second as we go into the braking zone at turn number 3. It's so difficult for Rayan here, but look at the action behind. Everyone's so close. Devin there battling with Chiquita there towards the bottom of the field. In fact, as we go 2 by 2 down the straight there briefly, as Francesco was there side by side. Will Murdoch, sorry, with Emlash there, and Devin with Chiquita there. In fact, it's 5 cars in the space of about 10 meters, it seems, because these drivers are so close together, and they're trying to work together and get up to the back of Francesco Lago to try and get a point in this race. But the action continuing nonetheless there and towards the top, because Thomas Covers within 0.4 of a second on as he head on to lap number 34 of 36. No tyre disadvantage for any of the top 7. They're all on the same age tyres, so it's just about to how you manage your battery, how fast you really are, and how much you want to push that throttle pedal down. Get too aggressive and you might go around, but you've got to try and be as aggressive as you dare, as Thomas Covers dares down the inside there on Rayan. And is it going to invite Danielle there? Absolutely beautiful stuff. And the overtake done, but DRS wide open. Are we going to go 3 wide down into the braking zone to Schlossgold? Absolutely we are. And it is Thomas Covers side by side with Rayan here. Surely Thomas Covers has this one as 2 by 2 we go. Dara there, Bars side by side with Danielle. And now into turn 6. And they're still going side by side there in back behind as Shazoo Dara and Danielle were side by side briefly. Thomas Covers is leading the race. He got that overtake on Rayan, and Dara there ahead of Danielle. But this battling is not over yet.
No, absolutely isn't. This is going to rage on until the final couple of laps, or until the final quarters of the race, I should say. Lap number 35 out of 36. Byron, if you were in this position here, how would you be feeling? Because we've got 7 or so cars who could still win this Grand Prix.
I mean, I'm just lucky I'm not here, to be quite honest, because I would not be able to battle like these guys are. But there, Dara battling with Rayan once again now. The
look at
absolute
this
tension and agony. This is such a grueling battle here
This means
to
so
try
much
and take a podium, try and take a win. It means so much as we nearly go 3 wide there into the braking zone at Schlossgold once again. It's Draga there who manages to hold the position against Rayan.
Can he
but
do it?
side by side,
No.
Rayan has managed to actually get back past, but slightly slower on the exit there for Rayan as he had to take a slightly compromised line. Thomas Covers try and run away just a little bit.
Well,
he's not going to get outside the DRS range.
Let's just cast it back for a second. Thomas Covers lost this race in this exact position last season on the final lap of the Austrian Grand Prix. He was overtaken to lose this race. This is the perfect writing, the perfect script writing potentially for Thomas Covers. Through the Niki Lauda curve for the final time, up towards the right-hander of Remus. Rayan is in the slipstream, Dara Smith is in the slipstream, and look at this, Danielle is going for all the points he can in towards turn number 3. Can Rayan get close enough to Thomas Covers? It doesn't seem like he can. They're burning the battery, they're weaving, they're using every last ounce of straight line speed that these automobiles have in towards the slush goal. Thomas Covers stays ahead for the time being. The Dutchman is rounding through the final couple of corners here. It has to be no mistakes for him in this final sector of track. Fede snatches a fair few championship points potentially in towards the final couple of corners. There's 2 more corners to go for Thomas Covers in towards the right-hander. Here comes he through the Jochenrindt curve. The agony is finally over at Austria. It's the perfect fairy tale. Thomas Covers wins where he was once denied. The man who could never win a PSGL F2 race has just gone and won one. What a race for Thomas Covers. The impressive strategy has been utilised to perfection, and finally he can call himself a race winner in a championship he has found it so difficult to achieve that status in.
What a sensational end to that race. You cannot even begin to process what a race that was. Thomas Covers, what a win, a redemption arc. Such a brilliant fairy tale story for him. But look at that order. Rayan in second, Daniel rounding up that podium. I mean, you just can't write this. It's you know, you say it's a fairy tale story, but this wasn't scripted. It was never in the script. There was no script to begin with, but Thomas Covers, he's made his own history here. He's written his own story, and he is finally a race winner.
Really, really good stuff from Thomas. Incredible. And the AlphaTauri man lifts a race winner's trophy. AlphaTauri have a win on the board now, so they've equaled last season. They can only really do better than that, and that is a fabulous result. Great race all round, great result for Rayan as well. I know he didn't take the race win, but second is still fabulous from him.
Yeah, not bad for Rayan either. Very good result, actually, for a lot of people in this race. A lot of people going to be happy with this one. And actually, let's run you through that final race classification. Thomas Covers, his first ever PS F2 win, and what a way to do it. He was denied victory last time, when we went to Austria in season 35. This time he comes out a winner for the very first time. Rayan in second, Daniel in third, Dara there in fourth, Fede in fifth. A very good recovery drive from him. His pace didn't really look like to show he was going to be a top 5 contender, but those final laps proved crucial for him. Johan in sixth, Diego Silva there seventh, Hazara eighth, Fusalo in ninth, Emlash there 10th, Francisco Largo, Devin, Phil, Will Murdoch, Jaquita, Tales. Then your DNFers of Luke, Dirk, Marcus Costa and Max von der Gies. Another terrible weekend for McLaren. Will their luck ever get any better? But rejoice if you are a fan of a certain Thomas Covers, his first ever F2 win.
And let's hear from him now. This has been a long-awaited race winner interview, I think. Oh,
and he's on PlayStation.
It's this again. He's on PlayStation. This happens every week. They join and bang, they're gone. I almost accidentally dragged in the F4 race winner who was also going for an interview. But here is Thomas Covers now again. Let's try this. Hello, Thomas. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Wait a second. Yeah, I can hear you.
Thomas,
yes.
I think it's safe to say that this has been a long time in the works.
Yeah, it is.
You lost this race on the last lap last season.
Yeah.
You've now won this race. How does that feel?
Yeah, pretty good, I must say. Yeah, it's been a long time waiting. Yeah, I mean, I had a few second places, of course, and this race actually everything went right. You know, I went for the double medium, and actually went really well. And then I almost got taken out by, I think it was Raya, and then I had to start all over again. And then the undercut worked out perfectly for me. And then yes, I could take some overtakes, and yeah, finally, man, finally getting this result I wanted. So yeah, pretty happy.
I'd like to quote something that you said earlier, and I'd like to just read it back to you for a second. Tonight, PSGL, no motivation to practice, no expectations. Is that
Yeah,
maybe a new motto you
yeah.
need to have to win some races?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. To be honest, yeah, I started I think this afternoon, and yeah, I've been quite on the low with the motivation. I just feel like I need a new game, you know. And well, yeah, you're right. Maybe this is the way to go. Maybe I just shouldn't care too much, and then it'll come.
Um, I know you've been waiting for a win a long time, and it's been difficult to keep going at times with OP closing and all that as well. But is this
Really.
finally sort of a pick me up in your league racing career? Is this sort of a message to say, right, I'm still good, I can still do it, I can still get that F1 seat I want?
Yeah, of course, it's been quite a tough season as well. Last season, I had so many DNFs, and it was just. I understand that I hadn't been promoted to F1, of course, but it was a bit painful still to not be promoted. I felt like I had the pace, and it just never really came out of it. And I think the new game I will be racing in the beginning, but I will be stopping racing after like I think it's September or something like that, because I'll be starting a masters then. So I probably will be able to do one more season, I think, after this one. So yeah, then we will have to see what the pace is on a new game. I hope to be in F1, but yeah, we'll have to see.
Thomas, I know as commentators we're not allowed to show bias, but personally I'm absolutely delighted for you. Congratulations on
Thank you,
the
man.
race win. Byron, sorry,
Thank
do
you
you
so
have
much.
any questions for Thomas quickly?
I mean, I think the only thing to kind of ask is what does it feel like to finally be a race winner? It's one of those you must have waited a long time for and felt like you've deserved on so many occasions, especially this time last season when you were leading onto the last lap and didn't
Yeah.
take it. How does it feel to finally be able to say, I'm actually a race winner? I've finally done the one thing that it's taken me so long to do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, to be honest, like the last lap as well, I knew like after the second straight that I was going to win, because it's nearly impossible then to overtake. But I was shaking like crazy, so I was just missing some apexes and just really taking it so slow, because yeah, I've seen it go wrong, like you said, you know. So yeah, it feels really good. It feels really good. I can't lie. It's really nice to be up here and finally on the top step.
Shout out Mubarak for
absolutely.
PSGL races going wrong at the last corner. Thomas, congratulations. We're going to let you go enjoy your evening now, and we do have
Thank you
another
so much,
interview.
boys.
We're being treated
Thank you
with
so much.
two drivers joining for the interview. It's the third place man, TAT Danielle, who took it on the last lap with an impressive overtake past Dara. Danielle, it was a good race for you. You recovered onto the podium. Are you happy with how this evening went?
Yes, I'm happy because Austria is a very difficult track because we are so much drivers in the same straight or corner, so it's always difficult to overtake someone. Yes, in qualifying, I did 0.1, so I'm happy with that. Then in the race, I managed the fourth position in the first lap, and then not much happened until the safety car because we put soft. So yeah, I started to overtake some cars because behind some drivers wanted to pass me. So I need I passed some drivers. And yes, so I'm happy with the race, especially because I'm back to the podium after two races. So yeah, I'm happy.
good race for Ferrari as well. Yourself and Fede are really doing well as teammates. Are you happy with both your progress so far this season?
Yes, because he started in 10th position or something like that. So I'm happy for him because he have done a great race.
Byron, any questions?
Not from me, no. Just congratulations on a great podium. It's good to see you there.
Thank you.
Danielle, yeah, big thank you, and we shall also let you go and enjoy your evening. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good evening.
Well, next week we have another corker coming up for you. It is the Canadian Grand Prix, a street circuit, technically, a street circuit by trade. But, Byron, is it possible to match how exciting that was this evening?
I mean, if any track is going to do it, Canada is certainly one of the ones you'd put up there. I mean, it's a good track for overtaking, just like this one. Get a lot of overtaking opportunities. I'm thinking, the Wall of Champions too. The walls, just like a track like Austria. Austria a little less so, but the walls are always fairly close around any track in Formula 1, unless you're looking at France, of course. But nonetheless, going to be interesting. I'm definitely expecting someone to end up in that Wall of Champions at some point in the race, in qualifying. Surely it happens, but will it be a champion? That is a question. Could it be Fede, currently the championship leader? Could he find a wall at Canada? Who knows? There's a lot of unknowns as we go into Canada. It's a track, though, that I think a lot of drivers like, a lot of drivers maybe not so, especially that final chicane. Very easy to get penalties too, so going to have to be very, very careful, and it takes a lot of precision, so it'll be interesting to see.
Couldn't say it better, Byron. I think you've summed that one up perfectly for what these guys can expect next week. You can expect some more Austrian chaos from where we're about to send you. We're going to send you over to PSGL F1 with Jess Games and James Head, of course, as well. A big thank you for joining us here this evening. We greatly appreciate your support so far this season on the F2 Championship. Make sure to check out our title sponsors, GT Omega and Sim Racing Centre. And go follow me and Byron on Twitter. You definitely didn't hear me say that. Don't tell my boss. But yes, a big thank you, of course. We shall catch you next week. Monday night, 7 p.m, PSGL F2. You don't want to miss it. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you next time. Bye-bye.
He's got the inside off here, he's through on the left hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.
Cocaine in my Cocaine in